Hello, this is Brendan Macaulay, Gabriel Rodriguez, and Parag Jindal, and we are presenting on RoboCanada Inc. To answer the first question using the risk room, we arranged the readings of business environment risk and political and physical risks in a spreadsheet. Vietnam and Indonesia have noticeably higher risk, so we immediately excluded these from our analysis. Current affairs and trade agreements between primary focus countries and countries key to RoboCanada was then examined. Russia currently faces sanctions from Canada over the Ukraine, while India and Pakistan have trade restrictions between each other. Pakistan, of course, is one of RoboCanada's main three Asian markets. Therefore, we removed Russia and India from our analysis, leaving the final three of China, Thailand, and Malaysia as the best options in light of the risk room data and current world affairs. Malaysia's results from the risk room show a lower risk for business environment as well as political and physical risks compared with China and Thailand. Malaysia's political and physical risk is actually on par with Canada's and is less risky than the UK. The UK's political and physical risk level is likely to rise in lieu of the EU referendum in 2017, which could of course have significant repercussions for business environment too. Next, we used Gemma Watt's AAA framework to compare Malaysia, China and Thailand with RoboCanada's current manufacturing hubs in the UK and Canada. From our analysis, Malaysia most resembles Canada and the UK. Its aggregation level is high, with low labour costs, a developed port infrastructure, and it's being situated on a favourable shipping route. Adaptation is moderate as there is a shortage of skilled labour and a strict sense of hierarchy, unlike the UK and Canada, although it is like the UK and Canada in being English-speaking and part of the Commonwealth of Nations. Further, it also shares similarities for arbitrage. China also has high aggregation with low labour costs, land links to two-thirds of the Asian target markets, significant control of the potentially volatile South and East China Seas, and an excellent port infrastructure. In adaptation, a different language, culture, and shortage of skilled labour mean a low score. Corruption is another important factor, but Xi Jinping is now making big strides to be seen to combat this. Arbitrage scores moderate due to the exchange rate controls, but there is the added advantage in China of having access to a potentially huge market. Thailand is comparatively the weakest of the three, using Gemma Watt's framework. Again, aggregation is high with the port infrastructure and low labour costs. Adaptation scores low, however, with an unstable political climate, corruption, and a shortage of skilled labour. Arbitrage opportunities are also low, with significant exchange rate fluctuations and restrictions in FDI. Gabriel will now discuss the supply chain risks.
Thank you, Brendan. Now here you can see a list of supply chain risks we've identified as being seemingly overinflated. The first is quality of labor, which plagues all three of our prospective countries. And this is best mitigated by establishing a rotational program that brings in old employees to train the new ones, as well as focusing on automation in the assembly hub. Next we have corruption, which both China and Thailand have high levels of. Now this is best combated by employing cross-culturally trained leadership as well as committing to transparency as a business. Both these countries also suffer from high exchange rate fluctuation, something that utilizing forward contracts is very good at dealing with, as well as the purchase of political risk insurance. Storms and floods also plague both these countries, but this risk can be mitigated by increasing the safety stock of their product, as well as building multiple assembly hubs in low-risk areas. Next we have political violence, something that Thailand has a high level of. Now this can be combated by buying political risk insurance, as mentioned above, also by entering the market with a proper understanding of the culture and the problems that they will be facing. Thailand also has a high risk of trading across borders, but we believe that by identifying potential local suppliers we could shift to, as well as employing cross-culturally trained leadership, this risk can be mitigated. And now, what are the impact of mitigating these risks? We've seen two forms: physical, in the form of safety stock and identifying local suppliers, as well as analytical mitigation, in the form of political risk insurance and forward contracts. Now, by combining these approaches, RoboCanada can systematically reduce their risk through a mixture of proactive and reactive strategies that increase the resilience of their supply chain and can improve the likelihood to succeed when entering other Asian markets.
Now that we have seen the factors from the Zurich risk room, as well as the mitigation of these risks by Brendan and Gabriel, we still need to consider factors that are key for making a decision of opening a manufacturing hub in these countries. When we look at costs, although Malaysia is the highest, we can say through our extensive research that Thailand and China would be increasing their monthly income and Malaysia would remain stable. In terms of government investments, Malaysia is making and pursuing highest amount of investments with their Vision 2020, as well as China is making heavy investments through their Ministry of Finance, National Development and Reform Commission, and Ministry of Science and Technology. The biggest factor would now be tax systems and incentives, with although Thailand having the least, Malaysia provides competitive taxes as well as having the least individual tax. A big disadvantage with China is that its complex intellectual property laws, which favors local manufacturers and local companies. One of the factors also considered by our team is the expatriates' employment, which is really favorable for Malaysia. So after looking at not only the Zurich risk room factors, but also external factors, we can say that Malaysia would be the ideal choice for our company, RoboCanada, to open its manufacturing hub.